Portability indicates, so it indicates that we can implement or we can run the C++ program in any type of the computer with any of the operating system. It is the smallest individual unit in a program, is known as what? Token. So what is this keyword? It is a predefined word that will going to give a special meaning to the compiler. Punctuators is also called as separators. Hello everyone, welcome to the new chapter, that is chapter 7, Introduction to C++. I am Rohini TS, lecturer, Department of Computer Science, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysuru. So before getting into the today's session, let me have a blueprint of this chapter. So when it comes to the chapter 7, that is Introduction to C++, totally you are going to get 9 marks from this chapter. Then how will be the marks distribution? 1 mark, 1 question will be there, 3 mark, 1 question and 5 mark, 1 question. So totally you are going to get 3 questions. For that, 9 marks will be awarded. Then what are the topics that I am going to cover in today's session? We'll have a look here. When it comes to the today's session, I will be discussing regarding the introduction and history of the C++. So how the C++ programming evolved, how it has come into the existence, everything that I am going to discuss. Along with that, we are going to learn about the characteristics of a C++. So when it comes to the any of the programming languages, it must have its standards and it must have some characteristics. So that I am going to discuss. Along with that, C++ character set, then tokens. So this is what I am going to cover in today's session. So when it comes to the history of C++, so we all know the C programming languages. So now all we are using C programming, not more, right? So when it comes to the C++ programming, earlier we were having C programming, right? In the 1980s, people think that C programming was the popular programming languages. So that is one of the procedural oriented programming language. Up to 1980, people think that we are working with a good programming language called C programming. So what is that? That is one of the procedural programming languages that is mainly focuses on the process of instruction. That means what we are processing, that doesn't matter. On how we are doing that or how we are processing that instruction, that matters a lot. Up to 1980. After that, scientists thinks that and they have come up with a new concept called object-oriented programming. That is OOP. So that was my last session topic, that is object-oriented concepts. There we learned what is object-oriented programming, what are its characteristics and what is its benefits, what are the disadvantages, everything that I have discussed. So when it comes to the object-oriented programming, here we have several characteristics. We have a basic concept. So based on that concept, we are going to get the benefits. So C belongs to the procedural programming languages and C++ belongs to the object-oriented programming language. So when the scientists think that we can bring a new concept called object-oriented programming, there they got to know that everything will be considered as what? Object and classes. So object is a real world instance and object is a real world instance and a class is nothing but group of this object. So these were the main thing, and we have several characteristics like dynamic binding, polymorphism, inheritance. So these are the some of the important concepts that we can get to know regarding this object oriented programming language. So later on, a person called Johannes Rostrup, so is a scientist, one who invented C++ at AT&T Bell Laboratories. So where did he invented this C++ programming? Earlier it was not C++. So he invented one of the programming languages with the help of this C programming. So we know what is C, that means that is one of the procedural programming language. When this Johannes Rostrup will going to have some of the feature of that C, and he invented one more programming language that in the AT&T Bell Laboratories. So he developed one programming language that is in the year 1980. So after several years, he think that why can I implement this C++ with object-oriented programming? So earlier the C++ programming was very comfortable and that was used with a C programming. So along with the feature of C, he invented one of the programming languages and he integrated those two and he working on that. But after several years, he combined the C++ with object-oriented programming and he named that programming language as what? Simula 67. So that was his thought. After that, we got to know that we are working with object-oriented programming and C++ programming. So, C++ programming is mainly works on the object-oriented programming concept. When it comes to the object-oriented programming, so there we are morely focuses on the object and classes. So that later named as what? C with classes. So that is later named as the C with classes. So we have a C programming. Along with that, we have some of the object-oriented programming characteristics. When it comes to the OOPs, mainly we are going to deal with object and classes. So later it named as a C with classes. But in 1983, this C with classes has been converted into C++. So this plus indicates the upgradation of the C programming. Plus in the sense what? Upgradation or some of the invention of the previous programming language. So the person called Rick Massetti, he coined the term called C++. So it was developed by what? Johnny Stroustrup. But the C++, earlier it was C with classes. So initially it was C, then it comes to the idea of scientists, they have invented object-oriented programming. Later on that, they have used C++ with object-oriented programming concept. Then they coined the term called Simula 67. But later on some days or some years, they have used concept of classes with a existing programming language. So they have coined the term called C with classes. So when it comes to the in 1983, C with classes has been coined as a C++. Here, plus is nothing but upgradation of the previous programming language. So that C++ term was coined by Rick Massetti. So this C++ got one standard format in the year 1997 when this ANSI and ISO standard has been evolved or come into the existence. At that time, the C++ become the standard. This is what about the history of C++ programming. So now we'll see what are the characteristics we have when it comes to the C++. You just understand one thing, when it comes to the object-oriented programming, already we learned about the characteristics. So there will be a modularity and data encapsulation is there, data modularity will be there, right? And we have learned with the inheritance concept, dynamic binding, message passing, everything were there when it comes to the OOPs. So when it comes to the characteristics of C++, C++ is also one of the object-oriented programming language. So that is what you have to remember. So now we'll see what are the characteristics we have when it comes to the C++. So here, object-oriented programming. C++ is what? Object-oriented programming. When it object-oriented programming, whatever the character of object-oriented programming we have, everything will going to apply for this C++ program. Here, we are going to consider everything as an object and classes. So, objects are the real world entity and class is a collection of that object. So, there will be more flexibility when we are working with this object-oriented programming. So, C++ is also one of the example for this object-oriented programming concept. So, next we have portability. So, what does this portability indicates? So, it indicates that we can implement or we can run the C++ program in any type of the computer with any of the operating system. So, it is platform independent. So, mainly it is platform independent. That is one of the main characteristic of this C++ program. So this C++ program can be run in any type of the computer with any of the operating system. So for example, we all are familiar with the social media, right? That is, let me take WhatsApp. So that WhatsApp also working with Apple phone, and it also works with even laptop or systems, that is desktop. WhatsApp web will be there. Along with that, we can also use the WhatsApp in Android so that it is portable. We can run that application anywhere in any of the system without doing any changes. That is what they meant for the portability. So what is this brevity? So brevity in the sense when it compares to the length of a code. So what we are going to write a code in C++ is shorter when it compares to any of the other programming language. When we consider any of the structured or procedural programming languages, so whatever the code that we are going to write in a C++, that is shorter in length. So modular programming. So when it comes to the OOPS, that is modular approach, right? So modulars are nothing but what? Modules are the independent component. So modules are independent component that has been tested and that has been implemented separately. So based on our requirement, we are going to integrate that module to our solution. So when it comes to the C++, it is modular programming. Why? Because here we have a concept called classes and objects. So based on our requirement, we are going to create a class, we are going to extend that class, or we are going to remove some of the elements. So flexibility will be more. So that is regarding modular programming. Next characteristic is C compatibility. So mainly this C++ program has a backward compatibility. So backward compatibility. What is this backward compatibility? So we know the C++ is a super version of C, right? So first we had C, then now we have C++. It is a super version of this C programming. So when it comes to the C compatibility, we can run C program in C++. So whatever the code is there in the C, that can be copied to the C++ and that can be run without doing any changes. That it has a backward compatibility. But we cannot run C++ program in the C, right? Why? Because this is a super version of the C. So that C++ program can be run in C++ without doing any changes or with minimal changes. But we cannot implement the C++ program in C. So this is what we meant for C compatibility, that is also known as what? Backward compatibility. Speed. So when we are working with modular approach, we are going to fetch or we are going to acquire the modules. So that will be easier to implement and that reduces the development time. So when it is modular in the sense what? Based on our requirement, we are going to fetch the modules and we are going to integrate and we are going to make a single program. So all will be together integrated in a single place. So the execution time will be fast. So that it is speed in nature. It is machine independent. So as I discussed, it is platform independent. Whether we can run this program or C++ program in any of the operating system with any of the type of a computer. It can be mini computer, mainframe computers, or any of the type of computer along with any of the operating system. Okay, so based on that, it is considered as what? Machine independent, that is platform independent. It does not depend on any of the particular platform or an operating system or any of the type of computer. That is what it is meant as a machine independent. Here, wide range of library functions. So library functions. So we have several inbuilt library functions. So C++ is very rich with library function. Instead of writing all code for a particular function, we can include that just library function in our header file and we can run a program very efficient manner. That is what this wide range of library function is there. That means C++ has rich in library functions. So when we have this library function, this will going to reduces the development time and also increases the efficiency of a program. It also increases the software efficiency, but the development time will be lesser. Okay, why? Because it is already has a inbuilt library functions. We can just include that in our program and we can run that program efficiently. So that is what wide range of library function is available in the C++. So what is the last characteristic? That is system software development. So we know what is software. So software is a set of instruction that will going to tell the hardware to do a particular task. So what are the types of software that I have discussed? That is system software and application software. When it comes to the system software, we can develop a system software by making use of this C++ program. Then which are the system software? That is operating system, and we have a compilers. So these are the examples for system software. This can be developed with the help of this C++ programming. So this is what about the characteristics of a C++, and it is also important question for your examination. They may ask you to write any of the 3 characteristics for 3 marks, or they may ask you to explain the characteristics of a C++ for 5 marks. Which are the characteristics? Object-oriented programming, portability is there, and it is size of the code will be less, and it has a modular approach, or a modular programming can be happened with the C++, and it has a backward compatibility, and it is machine independent. The programming execution speed will be high, and it has a wide range of library function, and we can use this C++ in order to develop a system software. So this is about the characteristics of a C++. So now we'll move on to the next one, that is a character set. So C++ character set. So what does this character set means? So here you can see that character set means a valid set of characters that a language can recognize. So if I want to communicate with you, I have to talk to you in the language that you can understand. So otherwise what? You are not going to understand what I am speaking, right? In computer also we have to do some programming. So by the programming we are going to instruct the computer, right? Then how the programming will going to be written? So that is with set of instruction. So that instruction should be understood to the computer system, but while writing that programming we have to understand that. So for that we are going to use some of the characters. So characters can be either letters, numbers, any of the special symbols. So that is what they meant for character set. So character set is nothing but a valid set of character that a language can recognize. So it is case sensitive. Mainly C++ is case sensitive. When we are writing a programming in C++, every character has a particular meaning. Then we have to be very conscious when it comes to the character set. So here you can see what are the character set it has. So it has alphabets. Understand one thing? Capital A to Z is different for the computer, and small letter A to Z is different for the computer. That is not same for the computer. So everything is based on the ASCII character, right? Everything is based on the ASCII character, and each character has its own value when it comes to the alphabets or any of the keys in the keyboard system. So when it comes to the character set of a C++, here it includes alphabets. So here we are what we are doing? We are validating the characters. What are the valid characters that I can include when writing a program? That is nothing but alphabets that I can take. It can include uppercase letter. When it comes to the uppercase, that is capital A to Z. So lowercase letters are small a to Z. Okay, and we can also use the digits. So digits are numbers. So then how many numbers we can use? That is from 0 to 9. Then we can do the combination. For example, if I want to write 112. So it is a combination of 1, 1 and 2 itself. So the numbers or digits will be always from 0 to 9. It's mainly work with a decimal number system, right? And we have a special characters. So what are the allowed special character that we can use? So here we can use comma, colon and exclamation symbol is there. Left braces, right braces. Along with that we have a left parenthesis, slash, plus symbol, asterisk symbol is there, and dot operator, that is period, then semicolon, underscore, right brace, right angular bracket, right parenthesis, we have a backslash, and plus minus symbol, percentage symbol is there, and we have a apostrophe s, then question mark, pipeline, hash symbol is there, and caret, then ampersand, and we are going to use the tilde symbol, so less than, greater than. So these are the some of the special character that I have mentioned when it comes to the character set. So we can take alphabets, it can be either uppercase or a lowercase, digits from 0 to 9, and we have several special characters, that is nothing but special symbols. So this is about the C++ character set. Next we have C++ tokens, very important concept. So all the tokens are very important for 5-mark question. Okay, so when it comes to the C++ tokens, what is tokens here? So we know we are supposed to write a program, based on that instruction it will going to execute. Then how we are going to write the statement? Based on, by making use of some of the character set. So that includes alphabets, numbers and special character. So then what we are going to call the tokens as? So here tokens are nothing but smallest individual unit in a program, that is known as token. So it is the smallest individual unit in a program. Very important question for 1 mark. Define token. It is the smallest individual unit in a program, is known as what? Token. Here, these elements will going to help us in order to construct a statement, definition, declaration and some other work. So which will going to help us to construct a complete program. So as I discussed, program is nothing but set of instruction. So if it is a set of instruction, we are supposed to write some of the code. How we are going to write the code? By making use of the special symbols, by making use of the totally a character set, right? So whatever the character is set, that I am going to use, or whether it can be comma, semicolon, dot operator, plus, minus, anything. So that each individual unit will be considered as what? Token. So this will going to help us to construct a statements in a program, because program is a set of statements. So at the time, for the declaration and for the definition, everything we are going to use some of the statement. That statements are the smallest individual unit. So that will be termed as what? Token. This will going to help us to construct a complete program. When we are going to write a complete program without any errors, then that will going to give us a proper output. So here tokens used in C++ are, it can be any one of these. So here we have a identifiers, reserved keywords, and we have a constants or a literals, and then we have a punctuators and operators. So token is the smallest individual unit, and it can be any one of these one. Okay, it can be identifier, it can be reserved words, or it can be constants or a literals, or it can be punctuators, then operators. So we'll see what is this identifier and how we are going to use. So now we'll see about this identifiers. So all we have name, right? So why we have name? Mainly in order to recognize a person or a place, anything. So mainly the naming is nothing but what? Mainly in order to recognize and in order to call that one, right? When it comes to the identifier, so identifier is nothing but what? It is a name given to programming elements. So that elements can be either variables, functions, arrays, object, classes, anything. So I have to name that element. I have to name that programming element. So that naming is nothing but what? Identifiers. So identifiers is nothing but it is a name given to a programming elements. So that element can be either variables or any functions, arrays, classes, objects. It can be anything. So very important question for 1 mark. Define identifier. Okay, all the definitions are important for 1 mark question. Here, what is this identifier will consist of? So what I can call a identifier? So it contains letters, digits and underscore. For example, we all have a name, right? So let me take one name called Suma. Okay. So our initial, let me take it as what? M and T. MT Suma. So here M and T are what? That is alphabets, right? And I'm using some symbols in order to give the initial M period T period. That means what? We are using the letters and we are using the digits and we are working with some of the special characters. So identifier can be includes letters, digits and underscore. For example, we all have the Gmail account, right? So for that, how we are going to write? So for example, xyz123@gmail.com, right? So if you look into the name, so if you look into the ID of this email, what and all I have here? I have a letters, I have a numbers, I have a special characters. After that, I can also take underscore. So why I'm using this one? In order to identify, right? In order to name that element. So identifiers is also like that. It will mainly going to give a name to a programming elements. That name elements can be variables, arrays, functions, any of the concept. So it may include letters, digits and underscore. Here C++ is a case sensitive, very important. C++ is a case sensitive. What is case sensitive? Capital letter A is not same as the small letter a for the C++. Okay. So if you are writing this xyz@gmail.com, that is not same as the xyz. Why? Because this is lowercase, this is uppercase. So C++ will going to treat both the ID as the different version. So that C++ is a case sensitive. It will going to treat uppercase and lowercase character differently. So you have to be very conscious when you are writing or when we are identifying some of the variables of a programming language. So here you can see some of the examples in order to give the name for the variables. So pen, time 580. So when it comes to the pen, I have what? Letters. It includes only letters. In another example, time 580. It includes both letters and digits. So here S2E 2R3 underscore. So what it includes? It includes characters, that is letters, along with numbers, and also it has underscore. So this is what the naming that I am giving to the programming element. That is nothing but what? Identifier. But we all know that C++ is a case sensitive. If it is a case sensitive, whether I am using comma or full stop or colon, semicolon, everything I must be very conscious. So there is always a difference between all the characters, right? So we must be very conscious. Then what are the rules that we need to follow when we are declaring the identifiers or when we are working with the identifiers? We have to follow several rules. So now we'll see what are the rules that we have when it comes to the identifier. Very important question for 5 marks. Rules to be followed while creating identifiers. So identifiers are nothing but programming elements. So it can be variables, anything. It may consist of what? Alphabets, numbers, underscore, any of the symbols, right? Then what are the rules that we are supposed to follow when we are creating this identifier? We'll see one by one. So what is the first rule? Identifiers are sequence of character which should begin with an alphabet. It can be either capital A to Z or small a to Z or underscore. What is the first rule? So we are going to name a variable or we are going to name any of the programming element. It must start with any of the alphabet. It should not start with digit. It must starts with alphabets. It can be either uppercase alphabet or a lowercase alphabet. Otherwise, it has to start with underscore. So let me take one example for this one. Let me take one example for the first rule. Sneha. So what I am doing? I am creating one programming element. So it is starting with what? It is starting with uppercase. So later on I am going to create one more variable. Is both are same? In order to pronounce, both are same. But when it comes to the C++ programming, both are not same. Why? Because uppercase is different for the C++ and lowercase is differ for the C++. So here it has two variables. So it starts with capital or uppercase letter. It starts with a uppercase letter and later it is followed by lowercase. So can I do the same thing? Is it valid? Yes. Why? Because it starts with underscore. So then now let me check. Is it valid? Why? Because whether it is valid or not, it is big no. Why? Because it starts with the digits. We are not supposed to write an identifier. It always must be starts with uppercase letters or lowercase or underscore. It should not start with the digits, so that it will be considered as what? Incorrect. Okay. So these are the correct examples for the first rule. So now let me have a second rule here. C++ treat uppercase and lowercase characters differently. So as I discussed here, uppercase characters are different for the C++ and lowercase characters are different for the C++. A, B, C. So this is different and this small a, b, c is different. Okay. So can I take it as one more example? Is all are same? No. Why? Because everything has a different meaning. Every character leads to the different ASCII value, so that all the four variables, all the four identifiers are different. So C++ will going to treat uppercase and lowercase differently. Next, no special character is allowed except underscore. So what was the first rule? We can start or we can declare the identifier with alphabets or underscore. Here what they are saying in the third rule, no special characters is allowed. Already I have discussed what are the special characters that we have. So we have comma, colon and semicolon, plus, minus, division symbol, everything is there. We are not supposed to take all these special characters when we are declaring the identifiers, so that it has to be a simple one. It can be start with underscore and even double underscore is not allowed. For example, here this is allowed. So why? Because I have taken only one underscore. But if I am going to take two underscores successively, then this will become the wrong usage of the identifier. Successive underscores are not allowed. So after that, we are not supposed to take any of the special character. I cannot name it as ABC or I cannot name it as /ABC. So these are the wrong usage of the identifier. We have to follow the rules and we have to obey all these rules while writing an identifier, so that this become wrong. If it is like this ABC or underscore ABC, then this will be okay. Okay. Otherwise, we cannot take a successive underscore or we are not supposed to use any of the special character while writing the identifier. That will be the another one. So here identifier should be a single word. No blank space is allowed when it is included in the identifier. So what they are saying, it should be a single word. I cannot take A, B, C like this. It must be a single word. Otherwise, this space, whatever the space is there between the characters, that will also going to have some meaning. That is white space is also has some meaning to the computer. So that it must be a single word. It must be a single word. There should not be a space between the characters or there should not be a space between the wordings. For example, Sneha Priya. So this is my example now. So it has two names, Sneha and Priya. But when I am declaring this as an identifier, at the time what it must be? It must be a single word or it must be separated by underscore. So that I can also write it like Sneha underscore Priya. So these two are the valid ones. Then which is invalid? That is Sneha space Priya. This one is wrong usage of the identifier. Why? Because there is a space between the wordings. There should not be a space. If there is a space between the wordings, then you are going to get the error. So it must be a single word, or if it is a lengthy word, it has to be separated by underscore, not other than underscore. We are not supposed to use any of the special characters in between. Okay, and when we are giving some space between the words, then that will be wrong usage. Then when we can use the numbers when we are declaring the variables? So at the beginning we cannot take a numbers or any of the special character, but we can take the numbers after the declaration of variables. For example, here I can take it as Sneha 19, Sneha 22. Like this way I can take, but initially I cannot take the numbers or a digit. That will be the wrong usage. Okay, what is the last one? Identifier should be of reasonable length. That means whatever the variables that you are going to use or that you are going to declare should be of minimum size. So here I have a Sneha and Priya. That will be enough. Instead of that, if I take Sharan, Kirti Prasad, Mahantesh, Prapulla, what it will going to happen to the compiler? It will be must be a reasonable length. So that is what the rules that you have to understand. So it has to start with characters, that is alphabets, and it can be start with underscore. 2 successive underscores are not allowed, and we are not supposed to take the numbers at the first, and no special characters are allowed while creating or declaring this identifiers, and it must be a single word. There should not be a space between the wordings, and it must have the reasonable length. So while following the rules of this identifier, reserved words or a keyword should not be used as the identifier. Very, very important point. So why? Because we cannot use keywords or a reserved words as a identifier name. For example, we have a keyword called if, we have a keyword called else. So these are the keywords has particular meaning to the compiler. We cannot change that meaning. Okay, so that keywords cannot be used as a identifier. So here these are the common names, but when it comes to the keywords, we are not supposed to take that reserved words or a keyword as the identifier name. So these are the rules that needs to be followed when it comes to the identifier specification. Just now I told you that we are not supposed to use the keyword as the identifier. So now we'll see what is this keyword. So here keyword is a predefined word. So what is this keyword? It is a predefined word that will going to give a special meaning to the compiler. So if I'm working with keywords that has a special meaning to the compiler, user cannot change that meaning to the compiler. If the keyword is if, then it always remains as a if itself, and it will going to perform its own operation, so that it will going to give a special meaning to the compiler. The programmer or a person cannot allow to change its meaning. So we have to use the keyword as it is. So these are the standard. As of the standard, we are supposed to take that keyword, and based on the requirement, we have to choose. There should not be a changes in the meaning of that keywords. So this is also important for 1 mark question. What is keyword or define keyword? So these are the reserved for the special purpose and must not be used as the identifier name. So this is also one of the rule when it comes to the identifiers. We are not supposed to take the keywords as the identifier name. Why? Because it has a special meaning to the compiler. We cannot use that meaning in a identifier or in a different manner, so that it has to be like that. Then what are the examples of keywords I have? So C++ is rich with keywords. So here I have named several keywords. So you are not supposed to take any of these names when we are declaring the identifiers. When we are working with identifier, you should not go with any of this name. So these are the examples when it comes to the keywords in C++. So here we have ASM, auto, bool, break, case, catch. So we already learnt about case, break and char. Also we learnt about do while statement and double, else. Okay, so for loop is there, floating is there. So you already familiar with some of the keyword, that is go to, int, long, and we have a new keyword public, private, protected, and null pointer. So these are the some of the examples when it comes to the keywords of C++. Let me move on to the next one, that is punctuators. So we learned about identifiers and keywords. So now we'll see about this punctuators. So punctuators, what is this punctuators? So punctuators in C++ have syntactic and semantic meaning to the compiler. Here everything is standard. We cannot change the meaning of any of the token. Okay, so here punctuators are nothing but symbols that what we are going to use as a symbols that has a syntactic and semantic meaning to the compiler. So syntax and semantic errors that already I have told you. So when it comes to the syntax, there is some rules we have to follow that while writing a program. So when we are going to use this punctuator, it has a syntax and semantic meaning to the compiler. So here some punctuators can be either used alone or in combination. So here we have some of the symbols. So punctuators are nothing but symbols. In your English, there will be a punctuation marks, right? Apostrophe S is there, comma is there, full stop, everything that we are going to learn in the punctuation symbols. So when it comes to the C++, in here we have a punctuators. So punctuators can be either used alone or work with a combination. So that is based on the operand that we are going to use that may impact more. Here we have several following characters that is used as a punctuator, and it is also known as what? Separators. Very important. Punctuators is also called as separators. Okay, so why? Because it will going to have a syntax and semantic meaning to the compiler. So we can use these punctuators either alone or with a combination of the operators or variables. Here I have listed out some of the punctuators. So what is this first one? That is exclamation. If it is exclamation, it is not wow thing. When it comes to the C++, understand one thing, computer science is different from all the another languages. So when it comes to the English, exclamation in the sense what? It is like some of the wow things. But when it comes to the C++, here it is nothing but not. Okay, that is dead opposite of that wow. Here exclamation, there we are going to use with a equal in order to indicate not equal. So we know this equal is nothing but to indicate equal. I can use this not equal. In mathematics, how we are going to represent not equal? That is equal and striked out, right? But when it comes to the computer, it is not same as the mathematics. Then how I am supposed to represent not equal? So this exclamation is nothing but not. So I can use this not symbol with equal. So what it mean? Not equal. So is A is equal to B? A is not equal to B. So in order to represent this one, we are going to use this exclamation symbol. So next we have a percentage that is used along with a format specifier. So format specifier, when it comes to the output, there we are going to format the output, how the spacing must be and how it must look to the user. Everything we are going to learn. So for that purpose, we are going to use this percentage. Then ampersand. So this ampersand. In English, for example, and in the sense what? That will going to act as a connector, A and B, right? But when it comes to the C++ or programming language, ampersand is mainly used to represent the address or a location, or it will also be used as a bitwise operation. So it will going to hold the address of a variable. So when I am going to create some variable, when you get an admission to any of the college, at that time what? You are going to get some space in the classroom. So if I am using that ampersand symbol, that will going to gives me your address. So address of that variable. So when we are working with programming, here this ampersand symbol is mainly used to give the address location of that variable. Next we have a semicolon. So this is colon and this is semicolon. Then I told you that this punctuators is also known as separators, right? When it comes to the separation, what we are going to separate? So we have several elements in the programming. So we are going to work with several set of statement. When we are working with set of statement, it can include numbers, digits, underscore, everything. Then how can I get to know the separation? For that purpose, we are going to use this semicolon. So this is mainly used to represent the statement terminator and also used as the separator. Terminator in the sense what? So at the end of this session, I am going to have thank you slide. So at the time, what you are going to get to know? So this is end of this session. So if I am not going to use the thank you slide, or if I leave as simple as that, then what you may think? So you may think that it is not end of this class and you may wait. So when it comes to the semicolon, this indicates the termination of a particular statement. We have thousands of statements when it comes to the programming. Then how can I get to know the end of particular statement? For that purpose, we are going to use this semicolon. And we have a brackets. So the square brackets will be used with the array concept. So in order to show the size of an array, there we are going to use the square brackets. Then we have a parenthesis. This parenthesis used to represent the function call and function parameters. So what is function? What is function call? Everything that you are going to learn in a next coming slides and next coming sessions. So parenthesis will be used for that purpose. Next we have a braces. So it is curly braces, opening of curly brace and closing of a curly brace. So this is left brace and this is right closing brace. So what it indicates? So this braces indicates the representation of start and end of the block of code. So when it comes to the code of a programming, there we have several set of statement. How we are going to get to know this is several set of statement and this is some set of statement? That is by making use of this braces. Opening and closing braces indicates open and close of that particular set of statement. So here we have a hash sign. So this hash sign is mainly used to represent the preprocessor directory. So what is this preprocessor directory? So when it comes to the header files, so there we are going to include some of the header file. So hash symbol is mainly used to include the header files. That is preprocessor directory will be included to the program by making use of this hash. So next we have a backslash. So this backslash used to represent the escape sequence. So each punctuator will going to perform a particular task. For that purpose, we are going to have all these things. Here, colon. So colon is used to represent the label, statement, and we have a equal to. So that is mainly used to represent the assignment operator. For example, A is equal to 10. So what I'm doing, I'm assigning this 10 to this A. So for that purpose, we are going to use this equal symbol. I hope you all understood with tokens that I have discussed in the today's session. So we are left out with constants, that is also known as literals, and we also going to learn about operators. What are the types of operator in my next session? I hope you all understood with today's session with all the concept thoroughly. Let me meet you in the next session. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you very much.